Welcome to the Cardamom Chai Podcast with Roma and Jasnoor. My name is Jasnoor.
Hi everyone, this is Roma. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
We're talking about the festival of Holi this week. It's all about colors. But before we get into that, let's dive into how our week was.
For me, this week was pretty chill. Nothing much really happened, just work and the weather being sunny and everything, so that was a good mood changer for me. But otherwise this week was quiet, just work from home and everything. I'm learning how to take less stress in life, so maybe that's something that's ongoing for me right now. I guess another thing that I have been trying to implement is how to not use my phone first thing in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah, that's so hard though.
That's a challenge. Yeah.
Especially when your alarm clock is on your phone.
That's so true. And I hate that alarm clocks. They're very annoying sounds. Although every alarm clock is going to be annoying. But you know what I do now? I put my phone now much farther away from the bed. So it makes me want to get up and go stop the alarm. Mainly that's a snooze.
Yeah.
Mostly it's a snooze. But yeah, so, that's something that I'm trying to learn, is to not use my phone first thing in the morning.
Yeah, you know how people say that they're addicted to phones because of social media? I have never found that to be the case.
Okay.
Because I am not too much into social media.
Yeah.
That's not the thing that I do on my phone. But I would say I am addicted to my phone. And it's because I like to play games on it.
Interesting.
I play a ton of phone games.
Yeah.
So right now, Two Dots would be the one that I'm playing right now. There's this as a side game in the game. It's a find this picture in this huge picture. So you know how there's Where's Waldo type thing?
Yeah.
So it's find this ladybug in this whole picture. And there's about 5 of them. Yeah, so that's so interesting to me. Because I know that's a problem of mine. I picked up a book called Myrtle.
Okay.
It's pretty much you get clues and you have to solve the murder of whoever committed the crime.
Yeah.
So you have to find out who committed the murder, what weapon they used, where it was committed, and why.
Wait, this is in a book?
This is in a book, yeah.
It's like reading a book. And what do you mean then you find it? Don't you just read the book?
It's not like a book. It's like a puzzle book.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A case is a couple pages. They tell you a little bit about the case, who the suspects are, what kind of weapon it could have been. So you get choices between 3 to 5 people, 3 to 5 weapons, 3 to 5 locations, 3 to 5 motives, and then you get a list of all the things that are clues. So they'll be this guy was not outside, so you can cross out any of the outside locations for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to solve these mysteries in a book. It's still a game. It's in a physical book instead of spending so much time on my phone. I can bet you that my phone usage has gone down significantly this week. I don't really want to look at my phone because it doesn't have this cool game that I'm interested in.
That's one way to manipulate your brain. I like that. Good idea. But I was going to say that, there are some people like me who can't even get through one book. And then there are people like you who have gone through all genres and how books work and everything, and now there are books there's puzzle books for adults. I had no idea. That's new to me.
Yeah, there's crossword books, there's Sudoku books.
Yeah, those things I know, but I didn't know that there would be a book like this where this is so cool though.
Okay, so it's not my idea to find this book.
I know.
I was watching TikTok, so TikTok might be another thing that I'm addicted to, but I have not looked at TikTok ever since I got this book. So TikTok gave me the suggestion of the book. Someone was talking about this book and they're oh, they love it and it's so cool and everything. And I was like, what is this book? Let me try to figure it out. I found out there's a website for it and you can get it on Amazon or Chapters. I just went into Chapters and I got it. Yeah, and ever since then, what's TikTok? What's my phone? Nothing. There's just this book.
Jasnoor is is very much out there on TikTok, in the sense that she is very aware of what's going on TikTok,
Yeah.
whereas I am not so much. So I've been trying to run the social media on TikTok, and I find like fun new things and terms on there, and I'd send it to just Noor, and she'd be like, oh yeah, I already knew about this, and I would feel so old. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I was not, I'm hearing this for the first time. I don't know. I never got used to TikTok for some reason. I don't know. I do remember having it downloaded on my phone at the very beginning when it was starting off and everything. But then I don't know. I always just stuck to Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'm way more familiar with Instagram and what goes on there. But TikTok is such a new world for me that I'm trying to like figure out and explore and everything. But
Yeah. I mean, TikTok's job is to get you hooked.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty good job
yeah.
with their algorithm. And once you're on it, you don't want to leave. But TikTok is the one who helped me get off of it. So there you go. They're like, well, we think you might find this book interesting. It's like, yeah, I obviously do. More than you, TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok knows you by this time. Just knows
Yeah.
speed's all about like books and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yes, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was my week. How about you? What's going on with you?
So yesterday we spent the entire day cleaning. We sent off my son and my mother-in-law to my parents' house
Oh, okay.
for the day. So my parents are always like wanting us to bring my son over to their house
Yeah, yeah.
so they can spend time with him. So
Yeah.
we were like, well, we'll send him for the whole day. So he went there with his grandma. The whole day he spent with them. So me and my husband, we spent the whole day cleaning the kitchen and, well, the main floor. We spent majority of the time in the kitchen because we had not deep cleaned the kitchen in a long time.
Yeah.
And we're like taking stuff out of the cabinets and wiping all the cabinets down and then putting everything back in. We even pulled out the stove and there's so much stuff behind the stove. We were looking for a spatula for a long time. We were like, we don't know where it is. And we found it behind the stove.
Oh.
I don't know how I got there.
Well,
Yeah. And then we cleaned all day. Got pretty cleaned. Like, you know how like when you're on the stove, you can get marks on the stove with like cooking and stuff. And
yeah.
we had like a huge one going for a long time because I just never got the time to clean it.
Yeah.
And because I don't cook anymore, I'm just not in the kitchen as much.
Yeah.
It's my mother-in-law and she's not the greatest at cleaning. Her eyesight's not that great, so I can't really expect her to catch all the things. Yeah, she's never been a cleaner because there's always like maids in India, so
Right.
she's not used to the cleaning
Yeah.
aspect of it. So I finally spent so much time. I got most of it off, which I'm so happy about, and it's almost looking brand new again. I think I'm gonna work on it some more to see if I can get the last bit out
Yeah.
today. But my arm, bro, it hurts so much because of all the scrubbing I did with this arm. And like I was like all night long I was like, oh my god, this arm will not stop hurting. It's gotten better now it's just a little sore. But yesterday, like evening and night, I was like, oh, I cannot use this arm because it feels so painful just to move it.
Yeah. It's like you just did like dumbbells or something with one arm, and the type of pain that exercise would cause. I think I know what you're referring to. That's crazy though.
Yeah, but I'm so happy with the kitchen. And even like I cleaned the pantry and the living room, and I had done my son's room during the week in the evening. The whole first floor is done. It's just now the second floor, which is not as dirty because there's not a lot of mess to be made upstairs. It's just our bedrooms and everything, and those don't get crazy. It's the bathrooms that I do have to spend a little bit more time on. So maybe next weekend I'll spend more time on the bathrooms. But then the whole house will be cleaned.
Do you use vinegar and stuff? Or do you prefer to use basically homemade natural things to clean your kitchen or deep clean and stuff, or do you prefer using those like nice useful sprays and liquids and everything that are available outside, especially for kitchen cleaning and stuff?
Yeah, we use magic eraser. Have you used a magic eraser?
I have used it. No, but I'm asking in terms of just liquids and all these things. But magic eraser, I know it cleans it, but like, would it remove very tough stains and
Yeah.
everything? The ones that are like stuck.
Oh, so the ones on the stove, I actually have to use like a special thing that takes stuff that's like really permanently stuck on there. I've tried like, other stuff, even like the homemade stuff. It does not get it out. There's just no getting that off.
Like vinegar and baking powder, baking soda,
Yeah.
these things combined with lemon.
No, I've tried all of that. It does not take it out because stuff gets dropped on the stove, like even like little bits of atta when you're cooking, like when you're making roti and stuff. And then because the flame is going, it burns the atta, the flour, and then it gets stuck to the stove, and then it doesn't get cleaned properly after you're done cooking. And it was built a year of that built up. I use something called Easy Off.
Yeah.
It's a very strong chemical. It is a very, very strong one. But what it does, it lifts all of that burnt stuff off. And then you don't have to spend so much time scrubbing.
Yeah.
I lift it off. So I'd had to do that 3-4 times because then you have to leave it for like a good 30 minutes to let it work its magic. But even that didn't get everything off.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of work yesterday. Good use of Saturday.
Yeah, we had planned it accordingly because I'd been so busy with work the past few weeks. And the last week I had a little bit of a break. Then my husband was also not working on Saturday this weekend. We combined our schedules and got to work. Maybe next weekend we can have some fun now that we've gotten the cleaning out.
I think it's a good time for cleaning because then now the weather's getting better, so we all get to go outside and do stuff outside. So I hate staying home and cleaning. If I see sun outside, I hate staying home.
Yeah, me too. So that's why we're getting it done now. And
but bro, talk about the maid service in India, how we all used to have that back in India, and it's just easier. Like every time we talk with someone in India and I don't know, just like briefly people mention about things like that how them coming here and how life is tough here and everything, and we're like it's nice to have the maid service and everything that we used to have back in India, where they would pretty much do everything, like house cleaning, and depending on what place you are from in India, you could have someone to do your even kitchen work, like literally everything. They would literally take care of your whole house, like everything from laundry to dishes to even cooking food and cleaning the house and everything. And then the ladies would either if they're not working, then they're stay at home, or they would be working, so then they have an extra help like that. How nice is that?
That is so nice. My parents, so when I was growing up, we didn't have any maid in India. But I know that my mom's maternal home, so where she was before she got married, they had someone to do their laundry and someone to do their dishes at all times. It's a big thing in our culture not to have, well, I don't know if it's a culture, but maybe a region thing, to not have someone cook and only like the women in the house cook. I don't agree with that, but so no, I've never seen maids for cooking around me, but everything else, from doing the laundry, dishes, cleaning, everything there's a maid for.
See, what I have seen in terms of cooking, yes, you're right. Even when I was growing up, we had a maid service for just mopping and things like that, and dishes and clothes, just laundry, because you would wash clothes with hands at that time. No,
and they do laundry every day.
And every day, yes. So no washers of any kind. Used to have that growing up, but now what I've seen is cooking is really seen as a job by a lot of women. So it doesn't have to be like someone who's necessarily struggling for money, but usually that could be the case most of the times. The thing is that if you're good at cooking, then it doesn't really matter where you come from or anything like that. You would literally just, it's a job, like it's seen as a job.
Yeah.
But then I guess in that sense, sort of maid service is also seen as a job in a way. Yeah, I don't know how to explain this, but
well, there's the caste system, right? The caste system is like
that's true.
who's doing your floors is not looked upon nicely because of a lower caste.
True.
And I hate that the caste system still exists in India.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely hate it because there's extreme prejudice in my own like grandparents, and where they're like, well, this person touched this glass, so I will never drink out of that glass. Yeah. To that extreme.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, they're just people. It's really nothing. Caste system is just made up.
Yeah.
There's nothing that separates anyone from anyone. We're the same species, right?
Yeah.
We came from the same thing. So how can you say that someone is of a lower standard than you are just because they don't make as much money? They don't make as much money because they're not given the opportunities to make more money.
Yeah.
And someone who's successful, who's of a lower caste, people still have so many issues about that. Like, how dare they go outside of their class and be successful and make more money? People are just so caught up in that.
Yeah, grandparents were like that, like no touching, like there was a whole touching issue and everything.
Yeah.
In the caste system. So grandparents' generation, 100%, they all were like that. I think this is like such a deep topic on its own. But what I know of is that caste system was basically initiated in the sense that, okay, if someone like so-and-so person is good at this, so they will do this work. So-and-so person is good at this, so they'll do this work. That's how it was separated and divided into people who were there at that time. And this is, I'm talking about, like, this is in like, I think this is in like the religious scripts and everything, the books and all. But then what happened after that is that people don't really want to put more efforts into going like, okay, let's redo the process on the next generation. No, what they want to do is now that, okay, your father was in this category of work. So now that you're born in this household, like in the same household, you have to follow that same category of people.
Yeah.
Which is what was wrong. And you're right, like it's still happening. Things like that are still happening. I have seen improvements from where, like where I'm from and everything. But I mean, I can't speak 100% since I don't live there on daily basis. So I don't know. And obviously I haven't really felt anything much here. And this is such a shit topic, in my opinion, that I could care less about. Like, I hate even thinking about this whole situation that happens on dividing the people into caste and then treating them accordingly.
Yeah.
Like, there's one thing that's dividing them, but another thing is like you are now putting yourself into more action and treating them in a bad way, collecting more bad karma for yourself. Like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. I disagree with this so much, and I tend to either ignore or not talk about it, or talk about it at a very depth, but I just don't have a lot of knowledge in this area to claim anything or to talk about it in too much depth. So I usually tend to ignore and avoid this topic in general. But it's such a shit topic, in my opinion. Like, does not deserve any attention or any importance, in my opinion.
No, I get it. And honestly, I'm on the same page that people deserve to be treated equally and for their actions, not because of the color of their skin, because of the last name that they have, or what their parents did as a job. People need to be treated equally and justifiably based on the actions, not anything else.
Yep, 100%.
Well, anyways, now we've devolved, I think, 25 minutes into the intro. We'll get into our topic, Holi.
Yes. Okay. So just basic overview of what Holi is, in my opinion. My personal opinion. It's just colors, and we do have a bonfire which is called Holika Dahan.
Okay.
And there's a whole story behind it and everything, and why that had started off. So I won't go into the mythology and the history of this whole thing, but that's pretty much what I remember Holi being. And again, we used to have 2 different days. So one was Holi, and then the next day would be called Dhureti.
Okay.
And that was the day when we would actually throw colors at each other and play with the water and all these things.
Yeah.
And then the Holi day was the day when we would do Holika Dahan.
Okay.
We used to have 2 different things, but obviously in Hindi movies and like maybe other parts of India as well, there's only one day called Holi when you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my understanding has been of what Holi is and everything. Holi is also related to Radha and Krishna, so that aspect also comes. So there are multiple reasons or perspectives why people celebrate Holi, because culturally India is a very rich country, and so everyone has different perspectives for the same festival. Like even for Diwali, we were talking last time how just being from different part of India, we had different perspectives on why Diwali was celebrated. So it's the same for a lot of festivals, and so that's my opinion on Holi. If you want to add, how was it for you guys?
Yeah, for us it was just a day. What it meant is just festival of colors. You throw colors at each other to come together as a community. We didn't celebrate it, well, at least the part of the country that I lived in, as religiously. And I don't ever remember it being a religious thing for us anyway, specifically for our family.
Okay, interesting.
It was just something that was going on, and it was fun. Throw colors at each other. It was more fun for the kiddos because they're having fun throwing colors at each other, and water balloon fights and filled with colors, and it was a lot of fun. And do you remember, like, there's a rule that one year it was dry and one year it was wet? So one year you would throw dry colors at someone, so like just like powder.
What?
And then the other...
Bro, but how do you keep track of it? Who keeps track of it?
I don't know, it was just told to us. It's like, yeah, this year it's the wet one, so you mix all the powdered colors in water, and then you have the water sticks or whatever, then you fill it up with water and you throw it at people. You have water balloon fights. But if it was a dry year, then you could not bring water into it at all.
We didn't have that.
You don't remember? You don't have that?
I think it is, because who would keep track of that? Just it's like, okay. It's not like we had cameras or anything back then either. So, and as kids, you have very less memories. Not you, as in like kids have less memory, right? So like, who remembers these things? Parents, obviously.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I was like, everyone had a preference for the water one because that's so much more fun. I don't know.
Well, okay, we every year we used to just have water thing. I don't remember any year where it was just colors. I wish it was, because in that case, it would just be like dry colors that you just wash off and everything. But no, you have to get wet, because it's like it's a whole bucket of water some people are throwing on you. Like we talked about this briefly, but it was like sort of traumatizing too at some points, because when people would like literally run behind you to put colors on you and everything. I used to hide in my house because I didn't like getting wet or dirty. So which was clearly not understood by a lot of people, because who wouldn't like that? It's fun. Holi was seen as a very fun festival and everything, but it was just too much for me. And so like people would like come into your house and get your house dirty and everything, and trying to put colors on you and all that.
People used the excuse, like, like because people's faces are just covered with color, you sometimes just can't tell who's who. Yeah. So people just use that excuse to go anywhere, to anyone's house, even enter the house without permission. I'm talking about like, these are like, young adult males mostly, or older males, just go in every place that they can to put color on people. And like sometimes we had to like lock our doors and be inside.
This is getting dark.
Exactly.
This is getting dark. I hadn't heard of this.
Exactly.
Really?
Like if we didn't want to get color on ourselves, because sometimes you just don't.
Yeah.
And so we would just be like locked up in our house, and we're not going out. And then my parents would bring out all just the kids, so the kids can play with each other to avoid this whole mess. I think it is taken into quite dark places in certain parts of the country.
Interesting.
And it's not just this all happy kumbaya experience of, oh, everyone's so happy throwing colors at each other. Like, some people do not want to have that happen.
I didn't know this happened. We usually just used to have friends over. I still don't want to get touched by them.
Yeah. What we started to do was my parents would send us off to my mom's sister's house, and then we would just play with just the family, and that's it. And that was a lot more fun than just random people coming up to you. So I remember this holiday being a really fun one that we all enjoyed and had fun. But I can also certainly remember those times where people are just too into it.
Yeah.
Adult males have no business doing this. Unmarried, I think. Married people, I think their wives have better control on them, what they're doing. Unmarried males in India over the age of 16, I would say. Just wild.
Interesting. And now I think, now actually I don't know, but like even back then they used to have very strong colors as well. So it would...
Yeah, they don't leave your skin for a week.
So,
they
you'd be going to school with things on your face and it's just fine. And there's no concept of makeup in India. Well, whatever we talk about, you guys, this is from our childhood. So, like, I don't know what happens now in India. But back then, we didn't have a concept of makeup. In high school, forget about it. Even in university, it was like, okay, maybe eyes. But, like, I don't know about high school or anything. So, you'd just be walking in with your funny looking face and colors on your face. If that hasn't...
Someone's forehead is completely pink. There's someone's arm is blue. And you're like, no, that's fine. This is from Holi.
It's just Holi. Yes. But yeah, like that's what it was. And Holi has also been very glamorized in Bollywood as well. In movies and, songs being recorded on the concept of Holi, obviously. And yeah, it's a big festival.
Yeah, it's a huge one. I think most of India celebrates it. Like Diwali is one and Holi would be the other one that most of India celebrates these two very commonly.
For sure. And you know what else? Another thing I really liked about Holi was the Holika Dahan, the bonfire that we had, because that was a religious thing. So that would happen on the night off. We would go there. If I try so hard to bring this out of my memory, I think we would go there with a plate full of items in it. I'm not sure what, but it could be popcorn in it as well. There are different sizes of popcorn in India. There is a smaller size of popcorn in India, and so we would throw that in the bonfire, and like whatever else we had in our plate, we would throw that in the bonfire and everything, just to sort of support the bonfire for it to continue, because again there's a history behind why the Holika Dahan and everything happens. So it's just a victory of good over evil, and so it's like, okay, I support that, and so that's why you contribute to that. So that was fun, because at that time the whole neighborhood would get together and participate in it and everything. So that was fun. You get to see everyone in the neighborhood and everything. So that was fun. But the whole coloring thing I didn't really like, and the water gun and everything, I didn't like that part. It was fun as kids when the colors were not so bad, and very young kids, you don't have the brain power to do so much harm. So that was fun. But as you develop the brain power to do some harm to people that was not fun. After a certain age, it wasn't fun for me at all.
Yeah, people would stand on rooftops, and then if you're walking in the street, he would get hit with the water balloon.
Yep.
It was not safe to go out that day at all. And you know how, did everyone also wear white?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I don't know. They would all prefer wearing white, and isn't that the opposite? I don't know.
It's to show that you're taking something so pure and white and you're just filling it with colors, and to show that you had been colored by someone else.
Sure.
But I don't know if we never wore white. We just wore our old
Yeah, maybe.
clothes that were okay to get
Exactly.
ruined.
Exactly. I think we did the same thing. I think this is more of a movie thing though. It's
Yeah.
a more of a Bollywood thing,
Yeah,
maybe.
fair enough.
That they wear white and they would be drinking the thandai and everything.
Oh
which is,
my god.
I think it's also called bhang,
Yeah.
and it would get you all high and everything.
Yeah,
so-
because it has cannabis in it. It was like socially acceptable to have cannabis on that one day.
Yeah, and you would make it at home.
Yeah.
Like there was a way to make it at home and everything.
Yeah, people are just condoning marijuana all up and down on that day, making it at home, and just like
Yeah.
everyone's drinking it. There's no limit on who's drinking it and who's not drinking it. So sometimes,
Yeah.
like if a kid gets into it, you see some kids really being weird.
Yeah, but yeah, that was what Holi was for me. The way we celebrated it.
I can't believe that's not a thing about a dry or a wet one.
Yeah, we never had that.
I thought that was everyone did that. It was just communicated to everyone.
Just know, it's just you guys, you kids, you probably used a lot of water, so your parents were probably like, okay, we're not letting them use water every year. We gotta save water.
Maybe.
Yeah, the next thing you get to know is just like, Justin's household following this rule just because of the kids in that household.
Now I have to know, like, if someone else also experienced this and it wasn't just us. It was our street. Like, it was our street. The whole street had come out and everyone's like, it was pre-planned because all we would have is the dry color.
Imagine all the parents because no phones again at that time, right? So imagine all the parents getting together in person the day before or something and going like, okay guys, so what are we doing this year? Whose kid is the oldest? Are they gonna remember it? No? Okay, let's just make up something and like pick one.
Oh my god. Oh my. It has to be a wider thing. I just can't believe that it is just us. I can't.
Shocker.
Oh man, I would feel so betrayed.
Yeah, this is one of those things that parents make up and so innocently believe that is true.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because no one liked the dry one. I know that. No one liked the dry. Because, we all had to be gentle and just like rub each other's faces with color and that was it. Like, you couldn't really do much. With water, you can do so much more.
I think I'm going to do this with my kid for a while. Just to like mess with them. Be like, okay, this year it's the dry one, so you better not put colors on me or put water on me, just the colors. But okay, another thing was the water guns. There were so many different varieties of them, just now if you remember.
Oh yeah.
It was such a thing, like right before Holi would come, there were very like small ones, I'm gonna have such a hard time explaining this concept. Can barely even explain my feelings. Forget about explaining a thing that's made of plastic and like different. Anyway, there were big ones with like multiple holes and water making it look like a fountain, and then there was like the other thing which was just like one hole and it would hurt when someone would like shoot water through that and everything, and different shapes of it and different sizes and everything. Anyway. So that was a whole thing, and no one wanted to use the water guns from last year. Everyone just wanted to buy a new one every year.
We gotta get. I think people would just store them away. They'd get ruined or they're like out of season. Like a new one every year. That was nice.
Yeah. I don't know if that still happens or not, but yeah, these were some of the memories as kids, man.
Yeah. Well, I have a nephew who's about 10 years old. I'm gonna question him next time about what happens now. And I'm gonna ask him about the wet and dry stuff.
Is it
because it's my husband's nephew, so different area, and I actually will ask my husband as well, and let's see if he had the same thing. This is now the biggest mystery in my life.
I applaud your innocence here. Just know, I really don't think it was everywhere at all, because unless it came in news, there's no way people are gonna follow the same rules in the whole country.
But I can't believe it was our street all knew it. Oh my god, this is gonna
They
bother.
talked about it. Just
This is gonna bother me so much.
They probably just talked about it.
I'll just go right to the source and ask my mom.
That's so funny. And I want to know what she says. Okay.
Yeah, I'll fill you in. I'll fill everyone in the next week's episode. Oh, and the reason why we're doing this in March, because Holi is celebrated in March. Do you know what date it is this year?
This year it's actually next Thursday. Okay, but yeah,
next Thursday is the day we release this episode.
Yeah. So I think it's on March of 13th. Oh, Friday, March 14th, actually.
Okay.
So this episode is gonna be on March of 20th. You guys would have celebrated Holi last week. So yeah, you're right. It usually happens in March.
That's why we're recording it now. The only other thing that I want to kind of talk about is Holi in Canada. You don't really find out if a festival's happening unless you're keeping track of it. In India, it's everywhere. Like the shops you go to, the street, everyone's preparing for the holiday that's coming up.
It's a national holiday. Exactly. It's a state holiday in India.
And here, you might know it from like maybe social media now. And that's only like on the day of. And then in some stores, like the Indian stores, you might find like some colors. But I don't see like huge celebrations happening here. Do you?
I knew that something is happening at the Hindu temple.
Okay.
In celebration of it, but I've never been.
Okay.
So I don't, like, I've never been there to celebrate any festival, so I don't know.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know this year. I mean, I don't know of any other years. I'm pretty sure they've been doing this for years. But you're right. Like, if you are not in keeping up with, being part of someone's mailing list or anything like that, there is no way you would know. Or maybe because of social media, you would know that now. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Even all the holidays that happen in Canada, the only ones that people do get so excited for is Christmas, Thanksgiving, and maybe Canada Day and New Year's. Those are like the big ones, and obviously there's like other ones like Good Friday that happens.
There's Easter coming up in April.
Yeah, I do get aware of those things because of all of the things put out by stores, like it's everywhere. So I guess I do miss that about India, that it was our festivals, and here it's not our festivals that are being celebrated. And I miss that a lot because everyone went out so hard for all of the festivals, and you felt like you belonged to the community because everyone's like celebrating together. Here you don't feel that at all.
It's a cultural thing. It's a completely cultural thing, right? So, but at least like here at the Hindu temple or in our like Indian stores and everything, they have the colors and everything. I don't even remember seeing that a few years ago when we had moved here. It wasn't even like you can't even find colors or anything in any of the Indian stores. So like it was completely non-existent at that time. But at least now you can buy those colors, and if worst case scenario, you can at least put it on each other, just between friends and family. If you don't know of any bigger place or public places that's doing this. Plus, because of weather too, right? Like not a lot of festivals wouldn't even be able to.
That's true. Like March is not a good month for Holi in Canada. Like that is just not. Sometimes there's snow on the ground. I know currently there's only like a little bit that left over that hasn't melted, but most Marches there's snow on the ground. And
imagine getting wet through the water guns outside during the snow and everything and freezing to like just completely freezing up because of the water. Maybe in this case we might have to follow your parents' rules and just do the
dry one.
The dry one. Maybe that would work. work.
Yeah. But you know, I think in India, because it's so massive, they should really think about ethical colors being used, so nothing that hurts the environment, because it's such at a mass scale that I don't know what kind of colors they use. I don't know what kind of chemicals are in them, how they got such good pigmentation that it doesn't leave your skin for a week. I mean, if it's healthy, I can kind of turmeric, I can see why it wouldn't leave your skin, because it doesn't leave my clothes for how many times I wash it. I have to put it out in the sun for it to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like they can use the mirchi or anything for the red color, because that would be...
I mean, you can't even use haldi for the yellow, because it's expensive to use that at how much it gets used.
Yeah.
So I think they need to find some ethical ways of sourcing the colors.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee it that they're not.
But now there might be, it's possible. I think people have learned to make things. Like, I think people make things out of even flowers and everything. Like, you can dry up flowers and then crush it up and everything. That would turn into powders and stuff. So,
like, beetroot would give amazing red color.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are like sustainably focused individuals in India who are trying to like do these things at home and stuff. But on mass cases, I don't know if anything that's not in full of chemicals get sold.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, so that's it for what we have for Holi. Please share your experiences of Holi with us. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you did dry versus wet years. I want to know, because this is the biggest mystery in my life right now. Do let me know if you're doing that or not.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap it up and we're going to move on to things we're loving this week. Roma, I'll let you have the floor.
This week, I want to talk about gardening. So
Nice.
I'm a huge believer of grow your own vegetables in your own garden and eat person.
Yeah.
But I don't get to do that because, it's still like the ground is still frozen, I guess.
Yeah.
So can't really do that here. Cannot practice that here in Canada. But I really like the idea of gardening. I have so many plants at home. I continuously keep adding more and more plants, either through... Now, I'm not going to know the words, which is very sad because I can't remember. But I think it's called propagation, I think. Where you split the plant into more than one because they have grown so nicely and healthy and everything. So either through that, or I would purchase very small plants and then I would grow it by myself at home. So I love that. I love playing with the soil. I love playing with the soil in the sense that just preparing it for more plants and everything. I was out yesterday and this year I decided to get seedlings and I got seeds of flower this year. Well, first time I've ever tried this. So now I looked up some videos and everything on YouTube on how to do this. So now I'm gonna put them in very small plants, not plants, but like there's a whole container with like holes and it has a plate underneath and there's a cover up for it. So I would just fill it up with wet soil and I'd put a hole in it and I'd put the seedlings in it and everything, and then I'd put the cover on it to let it get the hydration and the moisture and everything and let it grow a little bit. And then once they would turn into a little bit of a flower type of thing, then my plan is to put it outdoor at the front of our house. So that's my plan for this year, because I want to try to do things like these. I'm really learning about gardening. I'm trying to learn about gardening and get better at it so that I can spend my good, time doing that during summers and everything, since those are the only months and all. And honestly speaking, just the growth of a plant that I see, it like coming out even from the wet soil, like it's complete soil, and now a plant is like growing and becoming a thing. That whole process somehow gives me a sense of achievement. It gives me a sense of satisfaction, and it genuinely makes me very happy and content. So I really like the idea of gardening in that sense, and my plan is to learn more and more about it to a point where I become a pro, so that at some point in my life, if I were to move to a place with like warmer weather, then I'd be a pro and ready to do my own gardening of vegetables. Then I can do that at that time.
That's awesome.
But for now, that's my goal. And this whole process just, it's very interesting to me. I feel very passionate about it, and it does not bore me at all. So I love to continue doing this. So that's what I have been up to and loving this week.
That's very therapeutic.
It is. Exactly. It is very therapeutic. And the plants, I usually touch them, I play with them and everything. And I try to talk to them sometimes and all. It does have an effect on plants, by the way. When you communicate with them and when you give them the proper nurturing that they need, they have an effect and they grow better and healthier and everything. So it's just crazy to me to see things like that, which we always knew of in theory, but now I get to see that in practice, and it's actually true.
Yeah. I actually have a story about that.
Yeah.
So we've been we have house plants all the time in our house. We've had an orchid that, once an orchid has one flower that drops off or two flowers, it takes a while for the new flowers to come in. So we've had an orchid for a while. We've had a couple of roses, one inside, one outside. We've had hydrangeas planted outside, but they've never done super well in the first couple of years that we've had them. But in 2023, the year that I was pregnant, all of the flowers bloomed.
Whoa.
That year a few times. Roses, inside rose and the outside rose, the hydrangeas outside. My husband planted an Alberta wild rose, and that bloomed. And then our orchid bloomed the entire summer. It had 10 flowers blooming that year.
Wow.
And it was just the year of just flowers blooming. And we thought that was such a coincidence with me being pregnant that year.
Yeah.
It was so nice to see that. And after we had my son, we stopped caring for the plants because we just never had the time. So all of them died. Well, not the outside ones, because the outside ones we do maintain still. But the inside one, we only have 2 inside plants now. But the rest of them died because we didn't take care of them, because no one had the time to anymore.
Yeah. Oh, but that story makes my heart warm. That's so nice. It's such a hope-giving type of situation. I love that.
Exactly, yeah. And there's a few years that we've been trying to get the flowers to bloom for a couple years. And that was the first year that all of them did that, and to such quantity.
The energy just now. It's the energy of you being pregnant that could have done it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just a really, really nice thing to see. It was nice to be surrounded by all the flowers. It felt like they were congratulating me.
Oh. Yeah. I love that.
I love gardening, and I love being able to see the fruits of it.
Yeah.
But it requires so much hard work and patience.
Patience, yes.
Yeah, because you're not going to get the results right away.
No. And I see that as a hope-giving thing. That, okay, this will happen one day, or when this will happen. So I really see that as a process, and it really helps me be patient. I am normally a patient person anyway, so I don't really mind the whole waiting about this and, seeing the growth of it and everything. It's one of those activities that we need to bring back into our future generation and help them learn and everything as well. So another thing is if these things, then when your kids are growing up and everything, you can actually spend your time a Sunday afternoon or Saturday morning or something doing gardening with them. That way they get their hands dirty, and they know what, they know textures, and they know how things feel, and they know how to be gentle, and growing your the importance of roots and growing your own vegetables, and things like that, very grounding things. I think this is one of those things that we should, if someone is interested, and if they're good at it, and if they don't mind doing things like these, then it's a great skill to pass it on to the next generation, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there.
Anyways, what are you liking this week?
So this week, this is going to come to no one's surprise, I'm liking the Myrtle book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it so? It's called the Myrtle.
It's called Myrtle. Murdle.
Do you know what that reminds me of? There used to be a show on CBC called The Murdoch Mysteries.
Oh, the Murdoch Mysteries. Yeah.
Right? And the guy's last name was Murdoch.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. It was the same thing, right? It was like a murder mystery type of show.
Yeah. I don't think that's related, but that's such a
Probably not.
That's a cool coincidence. I saw the book physically in the TikTok. I didn't hear it pronounced out or anything like that. It reminded me of Wordle.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Myrtle, Wordle, I don't know. But apparently, like, this one guy, he's had a website for years of like putting out daily cases to solve in this format. And eventually he turned that into a book, and eventually he turned it into 3 books. So you can do it on a website as well. So I'll link that as well in the notes. So if anyone is curious to try out what it's like, they can definitely give it a shot. Because that's what I did, is when I first found out about it, I solved a couple of cases online, and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. And then I looked at the book, and then I bought the book. It's been an obsession ever since then. I think I solve a few cases every day. I feel like a real detective.
That sounds very interesting, though.
It is very interesting. It solves that itch that I have to solve something. Like a puzzle to figure out. That's what I look for in my games that I play on my phone, is a puzzle to do.
Yeah.
And this is like exactly the type of puzzle that I want, and it requires some brain power. So the games on my phone do not require brain power. This one does, and I love that, because I'm like a huge Sudoku puzzler, and I like jigsaw puzzles, and I like using my brain to figure some of these out. It reminds me of doing math in school, and I love doing math in school and solving those problems. So it gives me that feeling.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of again is us doing accounting, and I'm literally just asking a genuine question of a concept, and you're just going like, you just solve it. I'm like, but how? Like that's the question. How? And you're like, you just solve it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I know that you just love solving things, and you even saw accounting as like one of a kind case every time, and you just solve it. I'm like, yeah, but like, what about the rules? Like, how do you solve? Like, anyway, so I can see that.
Yeah.
Nice way to put it, though. Just now, this really makes me feel that one, this is a great way to stay away from screens, and second, I think this would be a good gift idea for those who are not great problem solvers. This would be a good gift idea for them.
Yeah, to learn and build those skills, because it does start up pretty easy, and then it goes into medium, and then difficult, and then impossible. So right now I'm doing the difficult ones, and I really, really enjoy the difficult ones. I haven't gotten to the impossible ones. We'll see if I can actually do those.
It's remarkable how you do these things along with having a child and a full house and everything.
I have a ton of help. I am not saying I'm Superwoman. I will never claim to be that. It's because I have a mother-in-law who takes care of my son while I'm working and cooks while I'm home, and my husband who's super involved with my son as well. So I never feel like I'm on my own, so I can actually have the freedom to do what I want to do besides just being a mom. So I'm really, really lucky to have that. I know many people do not.
It gives you time for yourself as well, which is much needed as well.
And plus, I like to think now that my son will see me doing something in a book rather than on my phone, which is, I think, a better impact.
Good example.
Yeah, exactly. I think if he sees me doing something in a book, then he'll be more likely to pick up a book, which he actually still likes reading books, because I read to him all the time, and he will bring me books, his own books, to me to read to him all the time. And sometimes I have to read one book like 10 times for him to be happy with it. Yeah. He's like, I love this book. Keep reading it over and over and over again.
Oh.
Yeah. And if I don't, and if I say I'm done, he takes the book from me and throws it across the room. He's like, how dare you not read to me? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, very sassy.
Good.
But that's all we have for you guys this week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram at Cardamom Chai Podcast. And if you have any questions and, something that you'd like to share on the podcast, you can reach out to us at cardamomchaipodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we post our episodes every Thursday on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. And then I post those links on Instagram every Thursday morning. So if you don't want to look us up, I will have those links posted on Instagram. So please use those and find us on those platforms. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.
Bye, guys.